Hello class. This is going to be my final lesson because my practicum is done for you this Thursday. So I thought we would do an ultra hard grade 14 division test so that it could be like the hardest test you've ever done in your life. Even people in university would have a hard time doing this test. So, the important thing right now is to listen to my instructions, and then after you listen to the instructions, then do the equations. So, I'm going to write the equations right now, and then listen to my instructions, and then get them done. Anyways, so let's write the first equation. Let's do 23 divided by 423,576. Let's do 893 divided by 25,543,260. Let's do 4,219 divided by 32,896,321. And let's do one more equation. Let's do 10,523,269 divided by 23,429,896. So this is equation 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is the equations that I've written down. So if you've listened to me up to this far and you haven't paused the video to do these questions, because I didn't ask you to do that, then you will realize that this is all a joke. And we're not going to do any of this, because why would I make you do hard things on the last day? Forget it. We're going to do perspective drawing. This has just been a joke. And we are going to do 2-point perspective, which is really cool. And we're going to do some 3D objects. We're going to do it's kind of like a city, except we're going to draw boxes in the city, and then we're going to cut big chunks out of all these boxes and make it look really cool. So, first thing you want to do in 2-point perspective is, in the first perspective drawing I showed you, there's one vanishing point and everything comes from there. This is a little different. This time there's 2 vanishing points, one on either side, and from these vanishing points, all of your stuff comes from these 2 points to create your cool 3D area. So what we're going to do today is we're going to make boxes like a city, like there's a cityscape going off in 2 directions, coming to a point, and then we're going to actually cut sections out to make it look really cool. All right, so first thing we want to do is decide where do we want our vanishing point to be. And I'm thinking I want my vanishing point to be somewhere around the middle of the page. So mine is 8.5 inches. So I'm going to come down, actually I think I'm going to come down for, now let's say 3 3/4 inches. And I'll do the same on this side, 3 3/4 inches. You want to make sure to have the same distance from both sides, and the reason for that is because this is where your vanishing points are going to come from. Now, when you do that first line, do it lightly because you're going to want to erase. And I want to, because I was doing a joke before, I didn't show you what you're going to need. You're going to need a ruler. And this is a nice stainless one, but this is my favorite kind of ruler, a metal ruler with fork on the bottom. Bar none, the best ruler I've ever had. Whether it's a little one or this size, I love it. So this, you're going to need an eraser. You're going to need pencils. And that's it. So let's start with our perspective drawing. Now, you can either have everything coming to the center of your page, or you can offset it a little bit to make it a little cooler. So I'm going to find the middle of the page. I'm going to use centimeters this time because it's a little bit easier. So 28 divided by 2 is 14. So the middle of my page is here. So I'm going to bring it off center a little bit. So I'm going to actually come 2 centimeters off. So now that I know it's 12 centimeters from this edge of this page to here, I'm going to go up to the top of my page, make a little mark at 12, go to the bottom, make a little mark, make sure this is lined up right here, make a little mark at 12. Then you just line your ruler up with your marks, and notice how I'm holding my pencil. Gently do a line down so that it's light. Then this is where my whole perspective drawing is going to start. So now I want to make vanishing points on both sides. So I'm going to measure in half of a centimeter and make a good mark that I can see. See that X? Then I'm going to come in half a centimeter or 5 millimeters, because there's 10 millimeters in a centimeter. So I'm coming 5 millimeters, okay? Or half a centimeter, 0.5, 0.5. So here's my vanishing points, and I'm going to put a circle around them so that you can see them a bit better. So now all my lines each way are going to come from these 2 points, other than my vertical lines. So let's see, how high do I want this first building to come? I'm going to go a little higher with this building, so I'm going to do this. There's my first line, and notice that I'm drawing this very lightly. So this will be the first building. And you see the point here where this line crosses that line? Now you want to line up from here to there. Hopefully this makes sense. So line up where this line crosses that line and to your point, and draw that up. Now, we're going to do the same here. All right. Now, so this looks like a big building going off into the distance. Now that I've done that, I'm going to erase this center line because I know my vanishing points are good. This is just a check for my vanishing points. I'm going to erase that so you can see what I mean. So see how it looks like a building going off into 2 directions? Like it's coming 3D, like you're standing at a corner and you can sort of see both ways. So I'm going to measure a certain distance over here. I'm going to come 5 centimeters. Actually, no. I'm going to make my first building long this way and short this way. So I'm actually only going to come 4 centimeters. So the reason I make a mark at 4 from this line over, because I want my line to be the same as like this side of the page. I want it to be the same distance over. So I'm going to come 4 this way. Now, I just line up these 2 lines with a pencil or with a ruler and do that. Now I don't need this coming up above that line. Now, where do I want my next building to start? And do I want the building to start at the same area as this? I think my next building, I don't want my building to be in line with this one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make it a little bit higher. So I want my next building to be taller. So I'm going to come over, but I want it to be pretty close to this building. I'm going to come up 1 centimeter over. to come 1 centimeter over, and I'm going to bring this one up taller. So it'll still be the same down here, but up here it won't. So now I want to use my same, actually let's make it even a little taller than that. Perfect. Now let's go to my vanishing point this way. There. And I can erase a little bit of this. And I don't need that either. Now I can come to this vanishing point. So every time you have a thing you don't know where it comes from, it goes from this side over here. So line this up, bring your line, and then stop it when you get to this building. See, now it looks like you have buildings, but we're missing something down here. Like this alley would go in. So line your thing up here from this point to there, and just from here and stop at this building. Now see how this building is like 3D coming up behind, and this one's taller and this one's shorter, and it looks kind of cool, doesn't it? I might even go shorter with my next building or higher. There's so many things you can do. So I'd say let's continue to work on this side first, then we'll come back to, then we'll figure this side out. So next, where do we want this building to stop? Do we want this building to be like a really skinny building? I think it should be skinny. So it's only going to actually be 2 centimeters wide. So make a mark at 2 centimeters. Make a mark at 2 centimeters. Bring this line up. And that's our building. Now the next one, let's say we want a little store down here or something around this height or a little bit less. So we just bring this like that. Let's go a little, actually let's go about this height, like that. Now, how much space do we want between these two buildings? Let's go 1 centimeter looks good. Make a mark. Make a mark. Now, bring our line up. And remember, we delete. Erase this little line, erase that little line. Then come from our second vanishing point to this point where your 2 things cross. Same thing down here, where our 2 points cross down here. And actually you can leave this line coming through because that might be the sidewalk later. So now we don't need this line anymore. Now we've got a medium-sized building, a tall building, and this one I think I'm going to make this one a little bit longer. So let's come. This would be like the front of a store, like a you know, one of the small grocery stores you see. I know they have them here in White Rock. It's like a small little, it's like a place where you get vegetables, like a vegetable store. So let's go 3.5 centimeters or 35 millimeters. Then we draw our line like that. Then I'm thinking, maybe I would like another taller building here. So I'm going to actually come over, I think 0.5 centimeter this time because we're getting further away. So I want the distance to be a little bit less. So we're only going to come 0.5 centimeter. Now we line those up. And there's our line of the new building. But we can actually take this up. Let's take this up higher. All right. I did not do a great job of that line. So I'm actually gonna come over from this side of the page instead. I'm gonna erase this. And I'm gonna come over 4 centimeters from the side of the page because I realize I want this building to go up tall. And I don't want this building to be crooked. And I was on the way to make that crooked. So let's bring this line up. I don't know how tall we're going to end up at the end of the day. Let's check this. I to not do a straight line there. There we go. So now, I'm just going to darken this line in a little bit. I'm going to darken this one. There. So, if we're going to have a taller building over here, let's see. I'm going to make this building about maybe this tall. So, we need to come from our vanishing point over here. Actually, maybe I'll make it, I wonder if I want to make it to go right to the through the page. No, I'm going to make it from here. So, we hook it to the vanishing point here, and then we do a line like that. But I don't know how long I want this building to be yet. And then this one, we want to measure over, like how wide do we want this building to be? I'm going to make it 2 centimeters wide. It's going to be another sort of skinny one. 2 centimeters wide. Draw your line. Now it gets pretty heavy in this area, like the heavy steep angle. So let me just come over to, actually I'm going to come over 4 centimeters for this one, and another 4. That looks pretty, oh no, I don't want to do that because I don't want it to line up with this. So I'm going to actually go 3 instead. Sorry, sometimes I make changes, but sometimes when you're in the process of something, you see things that might work better. Now, doesn't that look kind of crazy? It seems like when you get to that vanishing point, that things that are taller look very weird, very obscure. So, next what we want to do is we want to start working on this here. But actually, you know, now that I look at it, I actually think that it might be cool over here to have this building sort of come a little bit longer. So let's go 5 centimeters this way, 5 centimeters this way. And let's draw our line. And there we go. Now, and you can actually erase these lines going up and down. Any line that comes past, you can erase that. Now, let's go a certain distance this way. Let's go 1 centimeter. 1 centimeter. And let's draw this one up, because we're going to want this one, I think I'd like this one to come higher again, a little bit higher. Not much. So let's bring our line here. Let's bring our line over here. And this line, this building's actually going to go right to the behind of this building, like that. Then you just erase this. Make sure to not lose that point. I accidentally erased it. And then bring this line over. Now that I look at it, I don't really like this building. I think it's too tall. So I'm actually gonna make this a shorter building instead. Like that. So I think it'll look a little bit more, I think it'll look a bit better in this scenario. Then I can bring it all the way into like that. Yeah, just like that. So I'm going to take this out and make that a shorter building. I think it'll look a bit better in the perspective. Just like that. Yeah, that I like that better. It gets a bit distorted over here if you go too tall because the vanishing point is so close. And see, then I can add in one more little building here. So I'm going to go let's say, I'm going to come, so say 3 millimeters, 1/3 or 1 3/10. There we go. Now let's bring this one up a little bit higher. There we go. Then let's use our perspective. Bring it right down to the point. Boom. And then we come over here, draw our second line again. This one's going to be a little taller than that other building to give it some interest. Have it come over. Yep. And then you can just do whatever you like here. You can just make a couple little lines here. Like that. Try and get in there and erase it. It's literally small. And then just use your perspective point to make that second little line. Like that. See, now it goes off right into the distance and it looks pretty cool. Or I think it looks cool anyways. Now we've got buildings going off all the way down that street. And if you want at this point, you can think, okay, how big do I want a sidewalk to be? I'd say a sidewalk here should be about like this. So I'm gonna draw my sidewalk in. Now, then when you get here, try and keep it around the same from here to here as here to there. And then it looks better. There's your sidewalk. Now, you want the sidewalk to be 3D, so you're gonna want to draw from this point right here, you're gonna want to draw a little line down. You know, if you want something really cool, you could actually make your curb deeper. I'm gonna make a deeper curb here. Like in some areas, I know in Langley there's some areas where there's water flow areas where they make like a 6-inch curb. So we're gonna do a 6-inch curb just to make it really show up. Like imagine this is an area where they get a lot of flooding or a lot of rain, so they're doing this deep curve, okay? I like the look of it. There's my deep curve. And when you do sidewalks, you want to just bring your lines across like that. Then bring this line across. And I'll do the rest of these later, but this gives you the idea. There. Now we're working on our city. I'm going to delete this line because this is not necessary. Now let's figure out where we want this building to cease or to stop. So now I am going to make a building here, and I think this building should be, let's see here. This building should be more of a rectangle, like not as long as this one, so let's do that. I just slid my ruler over to where I knew was parallel because I can see it's good and parallel over here. Okay, and I'm going to do the same here. This will be about 1/2 centimeter that I'm coming over. I'm just lining it up with the edge of the page because I know I can do that. Now I'm going to have a little bit more of a gap between these two buildings. And this next building I'm actually going to bring up, I'm going to make it a little shorter. So, let's use our vanishing point, just like that. Let's come over the same distance. Make this one a little bit thinner. Then we can delete all this stuff here. Grab our vanishing point over here. There we go. See how we got our second building, but it's not as tall as this one. Then the next ones, I'm going to do some more storefronts. So let's bring the line in like this, shorter. I want them shorter. Oh, that was not a vanishing point. Sometimes when I use my ruler, I know it can be tricky, and sometimes I make mistakes. I make mistakes all the time. But sometimes when I make a mistake, I actually like it. And then it's not a mistake anymore. That turns a mistake into a happy accident. And a happy accident means something you didn't mean to do, but that actually you really like. You know, like you go for a walk and you meet someone, or you go to a party for your friend and you meet someone and you didn't mean to meet them, or you run into somebody and then you become friends later. Stuff like that. That's a happy accident. Okay, so now it's really hard sometimes erasing these little lines. That's why it's good to have a good ruler. I'm going to bring this building up actually taller, a little bit taller. Now let's bring this one over, and this building's actually going to go like it's a longer one on the corner, like a store way down there or something. Okay, and now let's use the vanishing point. Bring that down, and I want to delete all these lines in here from before and a little bit of my circle. I'm going to draw another little line there. I'm going to use I've already drawn these in, but and maybe that's where it ends. Yeah, just like that. Actually, I can draw another little one in there. It'll be really difficult, but you're probably going to be able to see it. I kind of like it to go all the way, so it doesn't look like the vanishing points are going to some weird place. And then you got to don't forget to do the ones at the bottom where your alley comes in, because those are important if you really want it to look 3D. And now that we've done these buildings, we're going to do something cool. We're going to make this look crazy. We're going to take chunks out of these buildings, and we're going to make this look like a more modern type of a building. Some you see some Minecraft tutorials that are like this. So here we are, and we've got to this point where we've got some cool buildings. So now I want to start taking chunks out of buildings, but how do I do that? So I want to make a big U shape out of the front of this that's gone, and I want it to be sort of near the top. So all I want to do is take my ruler and make another line on my building coming from this point to here. Then I'm thinking, how big do I want that to be? I want that to be sort of like more medium size. So then I do this. Now, this is where and I can actually do this part darker because I know I'm keeping this. So you might want to do it light at first to make sure you're happy with what you've done. So see how I've put those lines there. Now I want to cut into this a certain distance. So first thing I'm going to do is I want it to cut about 3/4 through the building. So I'm going to come, if it's 4 centimeters, I want to come 3 centimeters. So I'm going to make a mark at 3. I'm going to make another mark at 3. Okay, and then I want to draw a nice little light line down here. Then you take your vanishing point, come from this point at the edge of the building to this line, but use that vanishing point. So you just draw a line back like this. Come from this point through this, draw it like that. Now you have this crazy thing going on, and you're not sure where it's going to go. But now you start using your vanishing point. So you got to, from this point and that point, you're going to want to use this. Let's see if that works. So let's bring that through. Yep. And then you want to take this point. So you come from this point here at the top, use your vanishing point. Then you do the same thing from here. So from this top point, you use your vanishing point and just run it through till it hits this line, your new line. Then you want to erase anything around here. You don't need this line coming through the center of your building anymore. That doesn't apply anymore. And then wherever this point is, you measure over how much that is, and then come down. I'm just going to bring my ruler over parallel, make a little line here. Now you have, and you erase these little lines over here. Now you have, and I'm going to darken this in now that it's all, that I'm happy with it. My pencil works, that would be amazing. So I'm going to darken this in and show you what I've done here. I think you can see it already. So now what we've done is we've just cut a section out of the building. I'm going to see now. This is why I keep multiple pencils, because sometimes the pencil isn't sharp like I like it. And then now let's darken in this. Let's darken in that. And I'm going to darken in my upper part of my building. I'm not going to change that. So if you're happy with something and you're not going to change it, you can darken it in. Sometimes you can even fine line these when you're done. I like to fine line it sometimes with a nice marker, a nice Sharpie of some kind, or I like the ones from the art store. Those ones are really good. The micro ones, those are amazing. So here I'm just finishing this up. Sorry this takes so long, but if you don't use a ruler to redo your lines, and your lines don't look as good anymore, and then you've wasted a whole bunch of time. So now I'm going to bring this line down too, because I know I'm happy with this one. So how does that look so far? Does that look kind of cool? So now it's a little bit more interesting in 3D, and maybe I take a chunk. Maybe I take a chunk out of this too. So let's see. So let's see if I want to take a chunk out of this other side, and I just want it to go. Actually, you know what? Let's leave this building as is, because I think it looks pretty cool, and let's take a chunk out of a different building. Let's take a chunk right out of the side of this building. So, and let's do it down here near the bottom. So all I want to do is run a line like that, then run another line. Let's see. Let's run this line down maybe like here. Okay, so this is where I'm gonna cut out. Now we come to this vanishing point over here, and then we come to this vanishing point, and we bring that down like this. Next, come to that corner right here, that point, pull that back, same thing, come to that corner. And I think, let's just erase these lines out. Because it's going back, you're not going to see as much of it. So that's pretty much what that one's going to look like. Maybe actually, to make it more interesting, I'm going to come up a little bit higher, because I find it's almost straight, and we don't want a line to look straight. So I'm going to come up higher with it just to make it look a little better. Then I can make that look a little bit more 3D, like it's an actual cutout. Yeah, like that. And erase this. I wonder. Now we need to figure out where this would be. So if this came like this, I'm just drawing lines in here temporarily so that I would know where this thing ends, and then you'll see what I mean in a sec. Come from this vanishing point. I'm sorry if this is a little bit complicated, but you can just do what you can, and because I just want you to see that this is quite a cool thing. So see, then I know where my opening's going to be, and then this from that point will go up. Then this will come like this. Will it? Oh yes. This line should actually come down like that. Then I'll bring this over like this. That's a little better. I'm just trying to make this look a little better. Sometimes perspective can get a little bit confusing, even for me. Because you're like, which line do I bring from where? Okay, then bring this down. Then this should bring this line. From here, should come like that. Okay. Now that we know where these lines all sort of come from, I'm going to delete that because we don't need it anymore. Now it's just a hole cut out of that building. And I'll quickly darken this in so you can see what I mean. And something else I was thinking is maybe this building, maybe the next building, maybe this building's not that deep. Maybe that building actually stops about right here. So I'm going to draw a line like this. Now you would actually be able to see through those buildings because there's a hole right here. And that makes it more 3D. So the next building, I think we will, let me draw this line down here. The next building, what we will do is we're gonna cut a chunk out of it as well. So let's see, what do we want to do on the next building? We want to do something interesting. Maybe we cut a horseshoe out like this. So imagine we come over a certain distance. Then on the other side, same thing. And then we get our line here, try and come maybe close to the ground, like this. Then erase these lines under here, like that. Now, you want to use your perspective point over here to come right there. And that's pretty much, and then that's that one, and then one more line here. So that point and this point. Just like that. Now, you're going to erase this line now. And your building over here, you're actually going to see that line come down even more because this is exposed now. You see how that makes it like a horseshoe? Now I'm going to darken this in. And I realize I forgot to put in one of my little lines here, so I'm going to put that one in. My alleyway going down. See? See how that's cool now? It's nice and 3D. I'm not going to darken this in yet because I'm not sure what I'm doing with the other side here, but now this is looking all crazy. So let's see, what else will we do? Maybe I will take a chunk out of this that comes this way. So I'm actually going to just take a chunk out of this building just for the heck of it. Let's take this like this. Let's bring this down. Let's bring this down like that. I don't know how far I'm going to come over yet, so I'm just drawing lines going both directions. Now, we come over the same distance here, this way like this. Then we're going to come, I want it to be maybe about half the way across here. I don't want it to be in line with this, so actually I'm going to shift it over a little bit more. Just come over a certain distance here, draw a straight line. Now that you've done that, erase all your outside lines, just like that, and erase this inner line. Now what you want to do is you want to go from this point and bring this line across. Then you want to come from this point, the opposite to the opposite, bring that across. Now you have this X. Delete that. Then you just come over parallel to this line, find out where it lines up with this little X point, bring that X point down. That's it. Now, you darken in your lines. And you can pause these videos anytime you want. I'm going to come down this street now, and I'm actually going to darken this entire street line down to about here, because I know I'm done to there, including my sidewalk there. And I'm going to darken in these lines. Because I am happy with them. Oh, and I didn't realize that I can actually get a little one in here. A little, so you can see the inside upper bottom of this just a little bit. I wasn't sure if the angle would allow for it, but I actually get, yeah, a little bit of that in there, which is kind of cool. So now we're just trying to make something crazy here. So I think we should cut something out of this building, but I think we should make this building maybe cut out like this. Like it's like the letter, actually no, it's gonna be opposite. So we're gonna make this into something interesting. I'm still trying to figure out what that would be. Let's see. Make it into an S, or should we just cut a big chunk out of it like this? I'd say let's cut an interesting chunk out of it. So, but I don't want it to line up with this at all. I want it to look different. So, but I guess it is up higher, so let's bring it like this. Then we bring down a parallel line. Then we do the same thing here. Let's try to find a spot where, yeah, there we go. That looks good. I should have brought this line down a little bit more than that. Now, this perspective point will bring that over. This perspective point will also bring this line over. And this perspective point will actually give you that line as well. So bring it to there, bring that line through, right? And then it'll give you this one as well. So find that point, bring this one through. Now you want to delete this line because that line is not valid anymore. Then just darken these up. There, how's that? That looks way more 3D and interesting. And I will darken these in. Now when you're doing this, you don't have to do exactly what I'm doing. You can make your own interesting changes to these. You can cut out pieces that you want. Just make sure you go from the opposite side to get with your vanishing points. You should be using your vanishing points for all of your lines. Any lines that go this way are straight and parallel to this page, which means it's the same distance off the side of the page for every one of your lines that goes this way. All your lines at angles should come from these two vanishing points. You see how that looks correct? This actually, I haven't really looked at this as I've been doing it, but this actually looks really cool so far. I mean, I think this is great. Something is bugging me about this building. I think I should cut another little horseshoe out of here. So I'm gonna cut another little shape out of here because it is bothering me and it needs to be more interesting than that. So I'm doing that now. I don't want it to go all the way over, so I'm going to go like this. I'm going to erase these lines. I'm going to erase that line. Now, come from this vanishing point. Bring that over. And that's it. That's all you got to do. See how easy that was to cut that section out of there? There we go. I'm just going to darken in these areas because sometimes it's harder to see these things when you're watching the video. There. I am happy with that. That looks pretty cool. So, actually I could darken this line in now as well. There. Now it looks like a bunch of crazy stuff all over the place. So, let's see, what do we want to do next? I think we need to do something with this building. So maybe this building, what do we do here? Let's make it like, what do we do? I think we should cut out like this. So, and it should be maybe kind of like this one. But I want to stay away from the center line of the page, or wherever my thing was. So I'm going to come up about like this. I'm going to bring this line down. Then I'm going to do the same thing up here. Just like that. I'm going to come over a certain distance. Just like that. Okay, and then I don't want it to come... Actually, yeah, I'll have it actually come all the way through my building. So use your vanishing point here. On your line, use your vanishing point again. Your vanishing point should be for here and for there. So one here, and before I do my next line, I'm going to erase this stuff. So now I want to bring that one through, just like this. See that? Now it's got a cutout, but this would not be here anymore, that little line. So I'm going to fix this up. And bring this down. Then this point comes from that vanishing point. So we just go like this. And it's just another little line that comes across. This is what'll make it look 3D. And like there's this big sort of thing hanging out into space. A lot of contemporary house designs incorporate this type of a look into the architecture. It's really interesting, actually. So now that we've got that, I think this is a very interesting drawing so far. I'm going to make a couple more alterations to this, and you can do as much or as little of this video as you like. Sometimes when you're just starting perspective, it can get overwhelming, and this is a bit higher level, but I know you guys can handle this. Lots of good artists in this class. So let me just darken in this because I know I'm happy with it. Darken this in. Darken that in. There we go. I am super happy with this so far. Let me darken in these lines. Okay, now let's see. This is interesting so far, but I still think we should mess with a few of the buildings over on that other side to make it look cooler. So now that, sorry, I didn't realize my page was skewed there. So just darkening in a couple more lines here. I know sometimes it's just boring to watch someone draw all day, but I think you will end up with something really cool if you try this. So let me fix this line up here because it looks crooked. Okay, now I think we should do something to a couple more of these buildings. So this one, I'm just going to take a chunk out. Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to make this one more like a horseshoe. So like opposite that other one. It's going to come up like this. That. It's just going to be kind of like an archway. If that makes sense. This one's going to be really simple. We just come across here. Do the one line from your vanishing point at the top. And do your one line at the bottom. It almost looks like a doorway going in. There. Now that's got the thing coming in like that, and I'm happy with it. And I'm not going to do anything with this one in here because you're not really going to see it. So we're going to do this one now. So maybe this one we could make into like an S. So if you look at it, what an S would look like, so all you do is come over here, draw a little line down. Come over the other way, draw a little line down. Then come from your vanishing point and split it. This. That. So boom, boom. I think it has to be split into 5. This might be more complicated than I wanted to do, but I'm going to try it anyways. Let's see how I do. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, we need to split it into 5. 5 sections. So then if I want it to go like this, I'm going to erase these lines. Okay, so I want it to be kind of like this. So let me just fix this up now. So let's see. So I'm going to have it come like this. And I made it a bit distorted. That's why I split it into 5. So I could put 2 sections at the top, 1 section at the bottom. When I mean 5, I mean like 1, 2, 3. Oh, actually split into 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sorry. And then it was 6 was the extra one. Then I bring this line up. Bring this line up. Okay. And then add this little piece. So now that I've done that and I got my one side the way that I know that I want it to be, all you do is come from your vanishing point over here, bring this through, and I'm going to bring it in dark right away because I know these are good, these lines. This one will come like that. This one will come like that. Just like that. Now, I need to darken in this back line where I want it. Okay, because now my other vanishing points have to come from these sections. So you can now erase any of this junk out of here. And your other vanishing points will bring that in. So come from there, bring that across, and then come from the bottom, bring that across. There, you've now done an S shape in this weird, whatever we're drawing here, city. So now we're going to draw these two little ones. We're going to do something with them, and then I'll finish up the sidewalk and maybe do some street, and then we'll be done. So this one, I think, let's do, oh, it's so difficult to figure out different things to do. Let's do just a little cutout down below here, maybe. Or maybe it just cuts it out. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, and we're going to bring this line down. So, oh, I don't like that that looks straight. So, I'm actually going to come down a little bit more. There. So we're going to go like this. So this whole side will end up looking like this. And then you want to delete anything here except for your sidewalk. I'm going to darken in the sidewalk now. Sorry if my head gets in the way. Sometimes I like to get close to the paper so that I can look at it a little bit more. And I should delete anything in here. This one's almost like the letter P. My oh, I'm coughing because I talk too much. So, now that we got that cool area, we can finish up this. And so maybe on this other one, maybe I'll cut my building back so it stops right here. Because I think that looks more interesting, having a little gap between those buildings. And then on this final one, I'm actually going to bring a little cut into my building like this. And then I'm going to bring it down. It's really hard when you get down to these little teeny weeny cutouts in your building. They get so difficult. And this one I'm going to bring that down like that, so it's a cutout kind of like that. Oh, it's so hard. I need a sharper pencil. That's why I have 3 pencils ready to go. So, and I can actually draw this one freehand because it's so small. And go to the vanishing point. Now if we delete or erase that, just like this. I hope this makes sense. And then you use your vanishing point here to bring this in, just like that. And this vanishing point will bring that one right down there. Then this should actually come straight down, just like that. So it's hard to see. So I'm bringing this in like that. It kind of looks right. Yeah, it does. It's just hard to delete that little line right there. So now I'm pretty happy with this. So I'm going to start doing some sidewalk. So for the sidewalk, you always want to use this vanishing point to do this sidewalk over here. That. Just space it as you feel like it should be spaced. And then bring it out. Always come off of that other vanishing point right here. And as you get closer to the far side, you want to make them closer Make them closer together. I know sometimes it's hard to judge. We'll just keep going till you get to your far end. Keep adding in like that. And now you've got your sidewalk going off into the distance. And then do the same the other side. This is looking pretty cool so far. This is looking pretty cool so far. And I'm just finishing up the sidewalk. And you can just put a little couple lines in there by hand. So now that you've done this, I would add kind of where your other side, I mean, you could start adding in like your other side of the sidewalk. So if you want it to look kind of cool, come at a bit of an angle here off that point, come this way. Come at a little point kind of off this way, like that. I'd maybe make this one a bit wider, but not a straight line. Then what you could actually do is draw a part of a sidewalk coming on the other side of the street, or, I mean, I'm not going to spend all that time doing that today, but maybe what I'll do instead is try and find a center line. Because I know some of you like to draw the street, like the, you know that line down the center of the street, the yellow, the white solid line or the yellow? I'm gonna make mine just like that, like that might be too wide. Maybe make it a little less wide. Like this. If my ruler will stay there, it would be great. Okay, I'm gonna do the same thing on this side. And I'll even show you quickly how to do, if you want to do the dashed lines like you see on the street, when you're allowed to, if you're a driver, it's so that you're allowed to pass in that area, pass another car. So you could actually, if you come from this vanishing point over here, from this vanishing point to do this side, from this vanishing point to do that side. So you got to figure out where you want them to be, and then just start like this with a little gap, this with a little gap. It's funny, I drive all the time, but right now I don't remember how they really look like. So you can actually Google it, pause the video and do another tab and then Google how these things really look in the real world. They actually might be the same space and then like that, but I'm just going to draw them like this today because I don't want to stop the video. Like that, and then you just come with your eraser after. I'm going to turn my page sideways because it'll make me erase faster. And just try and be careful when you erase. I feel like I'm erasing most of my things, but that gives you the idea. And then you can darken those in after. So here is a perspective drawing that we made some shapes, some boxes and rectangles, and then we modified them by cutting out. And that is a lesson on perspective. I hope you liked it. Something you could do is you could shade every side that sort of faces one way. You could start shading these sides in, and that will really add some depth to it. Or you can color this, which would be really cool. If you use pencil crayon, you can use shading and everything, but send me some pictures of what you've done, and I'd love to see it. Have a great day, and thanks for watching the video. Bye.